everyone, and welcome back to the Couch Buddies. I am Blade,
I am DJ.
and we had a very nice week this last week, and we had a nice Couchisode, and with a slight giveaway, a small, very small giveaway, and we had two winners we're gonna announce right now. And DJ, you wanna make the honors?
Yes. First of all, there's no slight winners. Either they win or they don't. There is
I know.
no such thing as slight winners.
I was going to make a joke, but it flew away.
Sorry, not slight winners, or slight giveaways. Either you give something or you don't give anything. So, yes, guys, welcome. Yes, we do have already the winners for our giveaway that we mentioned on the last Couchisode. So, drum roll. So just to remind you, the games that we were giving away last Couchisode were Interstate 76, along with the Interstate 76 Nitro Pack, which was the expansion pack to the original game, and Ether Lords 1 and 2. So the Interstate 76 and the Nitro Pack goes to F level. Hey, congratulations, man. You got this one. Thank you so much for participating. I hope that you enjoy the game. It's an excellent one. I do hope you find your physical copy that you had of it, but if you don't, well, there you go, and you get a digital copy of it.
You can at least play the game.
Yes, you can at least play it, of course, because it's really, really worth it. As for the Ether Lords 1 and 2, the pack, this goes to Laura McLaughlin. Hey, Laura, thank you very much for participating. The game is yours, of course, and you will be getting the email with the actually both of you will be getting an email with the CD keys. Sorry, not CD keys, with the digital keys. Come on, CD keys. Nobody uses CDs nowadays, anyways. Yeah. So you'll be getting the keys over email. We'll respond to the emails that you sent to us. And guys, thank you so much for participating. And to the others that didn't, well, stick around. This is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to probably be doing this a lot more in the future. So, Blade, let's move to our agenda today, and let's kick off with a nice old game from you. What do you have for us today?
Okay, I'm going to talk about a very nice game. It's from 2001, if I'm not mistaken. And I really loved this game when it came out because it came from a studio with someone that had recently founded that studio, and it was awesome because it came from Bullfrog. This guy was Peter Molyneux. After this, he went to the studio was bought by Microsoft. He went to work for Microsoft with the Xbox. This is an awesome guy. He made awesome games, and he formed Lionhead Studios. And this was the first game I remember that they put out. It was called Black and White.
Ooh, man, yeah. What a classic.
This was a very nice game. It was a godlike game where you just played a god. You could play a good god or a bad god. You could do good deeds or bad deeds and just have people fear you or just worship you. And this was quite awesome because when you started the game, this had a nice detail that you had to choose a representative of sorts that you would have in the game, and it would be an animal. And you had 3 to choose from. You had a monkey, a cow, and a tiger. You eventually could unlock different animals by playing the game and getting through the levels, but these were the starting ones. And what could you do with them? You could just pick them up and just let them be. They would do whatever they want, and this wasn't very good to do. You had the system to interact with them that was called Leashes. You had the training leash, you had the standard leash, and the aggressive leash. The aggressive leash would just make him destroy everything. You had the training leash where you would actually teach him to do stuff. You could teach him to help the villagers, to hurt them, to scare them, to do whatever you feel he should be doing. And your pet would actually change color if you taught him good things or bad things. This was awesome. And you could interact with the game. You could do godly moves, you could inspire people, you could give them resources. And there was something very annoying I loved to do that was at night, just bang on the houses so they'd wake up and come outside. It was awesome. But the game would actually let you do a lot of stuff as a god. And I remember playing most of the time as a good god. I didn't really enjoy playing as a bad god. It was kind of annoying. But the good god was fun to play, but when things went wrong, you didn't have a lot to do. You just could help the people just get through it slightly and have your pet help them. But this was an awesome game. I won't get into much detail because I would really encourage people to try this one. If you haven't played this ever, just give it a go. This is an awesome game that I know a lot of people haven't picked up at the time. There is a second version also, but I don't know. It just didn't click with me. The first one was the thing, basically. And it was awesome.
I played both of them. Obviously, it was. I think that the really the real innovation on that is I think that I don't even remember seeing any game like that before. Like as if you could play a god, like you said, and it was interesting to see the different kinds of reactions of your people or your tribe.
Yeah.
I think they were called tribes in the game. To different actions that you would take. You could be a benevolent god, but then have some indisciplined people. But you could also be a bad god, and then people would be more.
They would fear you.
They would fear you. It was actually leadership by fear, which was could be questionable, anyways. But yeah, that's definitely.
Peter Molyneux came from Bullfrog, like I said, and they actually made a game that was slightly in these lines a long time ago. A game that we still have to talk about. That's Populous. It was an awesome game.
Oh yeah, I played Populous on the Amiga.
It was an awesome game. It was so much fun.
Awesome game. Was back in the time I was playing Dune and Populous. I mean, those two games were
awesome.
really in my head in terms of Amiga. Those were really classic titles. Anyways, great suggestion. I've played it, both of them. I think I played both of them equally. I don't remember anything on the second one that would make me on the second game. I mean, the second game that would make me or deter me from playing it. I just think that there was less creatures that you had available. Even the unlockable ones on the second game were
had a lot less. No, but like I said, the second game just for some reason didn't click with me that much. I got the game, but meh.
And it is what it is. Sometimes we have games that touch us. Sometimes we don't. That's it.
So, do you have a game for us?
Yes, I do, and I'm very excited about talking about this one because it was such a. I was actually looking at this game and doing the investigation about this game because I wanted to get some more technical details about the way the game was designed. I ended up finding a lot of new information that I didn't know about this. But let's get right onto it, and then we'll talk about it later. So the game I'm going to talk about is the game 13 from 2003. This game was released for PC, PS2, and Xbox, and it was released and developed by, I believe it was developed by Ubisoft. Not sure if it was also released by them. This was also released for the GameCube and Mac OS X a few days later than the original release. So basically, it's a first-person shooter that is based on the 1984 Belgian graphic novels with the same name. It tells us the story of a man called 13, that's the name they give him, and that is found stranded on a beach with a gunshot wound in him. And he's also suffering from amnesia. So the only thing that this guy remembers is being shot while escaping a boat. If anyone knows the theme of this type of novel, it was, around a group of people that were secretly plotting to overthrow the U.S. government. So, like the typical kind of, action movie story that we've seen for the past, 30 years or something like that. The best thing for me about this game was simply the comic book style of the graphics. I mean, similarly, for example, to Jet Set Radio Future, if you remember that type of, cartoonish design, this game was really immersive, and the story was, for me, was absolutely spot on. It was not like too fast paced or too boring or stuff like that. Despite that, it was very special for me, and I actually enjoyed a lot playing it. The reviews were mixed, and the sales were also not really that good. The graphical side was, as well as the soundtrack, were amazing. But unfortunately, it had some flaws. The gunfights are the best of the game as well as the worst, because you had some really unbalanced physics and the weapons damage, and you had some weapons that did, stupidly insane amounts of damage, and then others that were supposed to be, powerful weapons didn't. So again, it was still very much praised as a decent game with strikes of, true artistry, and I think that still needs to be played to this day because it's an absolute legend. Another detail about this game was that it had an amazing cast on it. For example, the voice of the main character 13 played by David Duchovny, the guy from X-Files.
I didn't
And
know.
actually, I don't know how his name is spelled, if it's Duchovny or Duchovny or whatever it is. Sorry, guys. I mean, if I'm butchering the name of it. Yeah, it's Duchovny. But also had, and now this is the important part for me, this is a very important character, it had Adam West as General Carrington. Adam West, the legendary Batman. You know?
Yeah.
Everyone remembers Adam West. Anyways. In October 2011, there was actually a reimagined version of this game, which was a point-and-click adventure called 13 Lost Identity. And this is the part where I enter the new grounds. I didn't know this. I didn't know that there was an adventure game based on this game. And I actually didn't know that in November 2020, there was a remake of this game released, which, again, I did take a look at it, and then I looked at the reviews, and they weren't that positive. And I can understand why here, because they really took everything away from what made this game very, very good, which was the cel-shaded graphics that looked like a comic book. This is for me, it's like the best thing about this game is the graphical design of the game.
The game looks awesome.
It was just perfect. This is actually available. The first game is actually available for GOG for €5.99, so €6, let's say. And one of the most hilarious curiosities is that due to the fact that the remake was considered so bad and it had so negative reviews, the popularity of the original game actually spiked, and it actually surpassed the sales of the remake. So actually, the original game from 2003 sold more copies than the remake from last year, from 2020. But guys, again, just give it a go. It's an excellent game. It's very, very good. It's awesome. And you guys are going to love it.
And seriously, try the original one. It looks awesome.
Yes, it does.
Definitely does.
So, Blade, do you want to bring another game to us?
Yeah, just want to add a quick information. I was talking with a friend about Sim Hospital before we talked today. And Peter Molyneux wasn't involved in Sim Hospital, but Sim Park.
Okay.
I had Sim Hospital in my head, but it wasn't Sim Hospital, it was Sim Park. And we talked about mentioned Populous, and I think, I'm not sure, I'll have to double check, but I think Peter Molyneux was behind that too. That's why he made Black and White. But anyway.
I wasn't following, but definitely I'll take a look at it.
I'll double check it. And then
we'll
just say yes or no in the next Couchisode. So, well, another game. Let's go to 1999 and to a console I simply love, and I mean love, and it was way ahead of its time. That was the Dreamcast. They had a very simple game, a puzzle game that was addictive as hell. And I recommend that you play it. You can easily get this game today. The game is called Choo Choo Rocket.
Choo Choo Rocket, yes.
Choo Choo Rocket. This was a very simple puzzle game. Well, you had a scenario where you could just simply put arrows to make the characters get there and move in the direction the arrow was pointing. And you had to get your mice that were called choo-choos to the rocket. And you had to do this avoiding the capu-capus that were the cats. The story basically was that the spaceports, the choo-choo spaceports, were invaded by capu-capus, and you just had to get them to evacuate. And it was awesome. It was seriously awesome, this game. I remember the first time I played this game, I was like, let me give it a go. It looks nice, looks cute. And I spent more than 3 hours straight playing this one. And the next time I played it, it was the same exact thing. It was awesome. And it had some nice details. You had the standard mode, you had the various levels you had to go through. You could actually build your own levels. You could have a time attack, and you could play against another player. And the most awesome thing is that this was the very first game to have online play on the Dreamcast. You could actually play against other people online and share the levels you made online. This was completely awesome at the time. It was amazing.
It was a very I mean, more than the game. Sorry, I'm going to talk about this. I mean, the Dreamcast was so ahead of its time. I mean, it was the first console that I've seen having a keyboard, and I was looking at that and I was like, wow! And it had an internal modem also that you could use for online connectivity. And I was like, wow. I mean, I believe that in Portugal back here, you had to pay for the service, not only the internet, but
Yeah.
actually going online with the console had kind of
I think it had an extra
service.
cost, yeah.
Yeah, like a subscription fee or some, kind of like Xbox Live or something like that.
Yeah, but the awesome thing is, the console back then, you could actually get a keyboard and mouse specific for the console and go on the internet.
I know. You could use the web browser of the console. I remember that. Yeah. It was. I mean, this console was rigged with innovation in there, but I think that eventually Sega's demise was the popularity and the titles that were just coming out for the.
No, the problem with the Dreamcast mainly was that they had a bad launch for the Saturn that was still shadowing over it, and there was another issue. They had a type of interactive CD integration on the Dreamcast, which led to the console being basically breached very early on. And it was very easy to breach the console without any modifications, so it was swarmed with piracy from very early on, and the profits just kept going down because piracy was the downfall of the Dreamcast, sadly.
That was Sega's last console, right? It was the Dreamcast. Yeah, it was last console. That's when they announced that they would be dedicating solely to software development.
Yeah.
I
think that they passed a lot of what was done on the Dreamcast to Microsoft, and then the Xbox was born. Xbox basically was born from the demise of the Dreamcast, which, well, kind of balances things up, but it's a bit unfair because the Dreamcast was so superior to anything that was back then.
Yeah, hardware-wise, awesome. I mean, that was powered by almost a. I think it was an IBM CPU, wasn't it? I don't know if there was an. I think it was a kind of like a PowerPC CPU. I really don't remember, guys. So sorry if I'm.
I'll have to double check also, but seriously,
I think it was that.
Console was awesome.
And I think also some relation with Windows CE. I think it was based on Windows CE.
No, it had double system, or it used also Windows CE, and you have specific games that would work under Windows CE under the Dreamcast. It was awesome, and there are still issues emulating games today that use the Windows CE system on the Dreamcast.
I think we need to make a live show here, talking about just these old consoles and stuff like that, because more than the games, actually, we have so much interesting memorabilia and to discuss about these consoles. But anyways, thanks Blade for bringing that up. That was really a good one. I'm going to
play this one seriously.
Yeah, I'm going to close off today with actually also a very special game of mine that. Well, again, another one that was, we talk about that so much here, about the reviews and how they influence the games. But again, we'll go into it. So I'm going to talk about Enter the Matrix from 2003. And this game was released for PC, Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. And it was released under the brand of Atari. I mean, it was something for me quite, strange seeing a game being released by Atari, in the early 2000s. So, Enter the Matrix is an action-adventure game that is mostly played on the third-person perspective. The events of this game are the ones from the Matrix Revolutions, and which was the final movie of the Matrix trilogy. We can either assume the character of Niobe, the captain of the Logos, or Ghost, which is the ship's first mate, that is kind of like a philosophical, deep-thinking assassin, let's say. The events, although that are based on the movie, are kind of telling us how the side story went that led to the end of the conflict between the humans and the machines. So it's kind of like telling us what happened behind the scenes of what we see in the movie. The game featured a very important, let's say, characteristic, which was the bullet time, which had been recently introduced in the Max Payne series, which was in 2001. Although the Matrix movies are before that, I think that in the video games, Max Payne was the one that actually introduced that into the world. Not 100% sure about this, but to me, it was the first one that I remember seeing this.
There was another movie that used that effect after that. That's called Kung Pao. You have to watch it.
Yeah. But I mean, in the video games industry, I don't think that there was any that was coming up with this. This game had actually a massive investment in terms of budget. I mean, it contained over 1 hour of exclusively shot footage with the original cast, and it was especially for the game. It featured motion-captured martial arts moves that were supervised by, and sorry about this name if I don't pronounce it correctly, Yuan Yu Ping, which was the fight scenes choreographer of the movies themselves. Also, these cutscenes on the game were actually directed by the original film directors, the Wachowski brothers, which, now are called the Wachowski sisters. So, credit to that. They are now, they are transgender, so they are now women. So again, despite that the game sold like 5 million copies, the critics were really, really harsh on this one. The claims went from unfinished and buggy game to unacceptable camera angles on the gameplay. I mean, to be honest, a fan of the Matrix as a fan of the Matrix trilogy, I was very happy that I could see all this extra content with the original cast and the directors. I mean, for me, it was more of that. It was, just reliving the experience of the game, looking at the everything that was made especially for this game. I mean, I think that in the end the game suffered due to its wrongly set expectations due to the success of the movies. I think that sometimes in the critics industry, on the game industry, especially on the journalists and the critics, I think that people just need to set aside whatever guidelines they have to review whether it's a good game or a bad game, and just feel what it brings to the players and to us. I mean, for me, it was like, I love the Matrix trilogy, and I was getting into this game, and I was like beating people from left to right with martial arts moves, and I was like, wow, this is really, really nice. The soundtrack was also amazing, like, a real audio soundtrack, blasting through speakers or headphones. Again, it was for me, it was a great game, and I'm not going to say it like some critics said, that it was the worst game they've seen in 20 years of reviewing games. I think that's really harsh, and I don't think that really represents the truth. Whom I would like to hear reviewing this game would be someone that would have never seen the Matrix trilogy or know anything about the movies, and just go into it and tell me what they think about it. Because I think that's the most unbiased opinion. Someone that is just the guy just wants to play games. The person or the guy or the girl doesn't matter. They just want to play games.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, have missed out on awesome games just because they heard the critics on some games.
Oh yeah, I mean,
people just need to play the games for themselves. Everyone has their opinion. They have some guidelines, but deep down they have their own opinions, and sometimes they bash out games that are awesome games. They're not perfect, but they're awesome, and a lot of people will miss out on them because someone said they weren't good enough. And this is basically not true for most of them.
I already said that in previous Couchisodes, and I think I'm not getting tired of mentioning it. And that's why we bring this content to you guys, and that's why we remember about it. That's why we remember things. We actually found out new things to us while doing this investigation, is the fact that there's so many things that we can learn from past experiences. There's, especially in games about this, that people say that, oh, this game was absolutely terrible. But one man's treasure one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's how the expression goes.
Yeah.
And I learned throughout life, and probably all of you too, that there's a lid for every pot. Jesus, I'm switching the expressions today. There's a lid for every pot. And I think that these games also have someone that appreciates them. I did appreciate them. I don't agree with the reviews about it. And guys, if you want to look for yourselves, I mean, yes, it didn't age very well compared to what we have today. The control system might be a little bit clunky, but just give it a go, as we always say. It's for me, it's an excellent game that I love, and definitely I do play it sometimes. And if I could get a physical copy of this, I would buy it, and no hard feelings, and I wouldn't even look back. So, guys, give it a go.
Yeah, I remember playing the game, but I'm not too sure if I played it for a long time. Seriously, I have to pick it up again.
Yeah, this game also. Yeah, this game also had like the Matrix game side. Actually, the movies were actually explored. It even had there was at some point, I'm not sure if it was even released or being developed, an open world, an MMORPG of the Matrix that failed miserably and didn't go forward. So I don't even know if it was ended up being released. But I gotta maybe make talk about that one and see where it led. But yeah, guys, give it a try. Let us know in the comments what you think about it, about any of these games that we talked about, and let us think what you think about this. The critics. I mean, about how they impact the industry of the games, how they impact your personal experience. Do you usually read the critics first and then you play the game? Do you actually don't want to read anything and then you go straight to the game to see how it is? Let us know in the comments. It's actually an excellent topic for discussion.
Yeah, a very good topic to discuss. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I usually watch some gameplay of the game and screw the critics. I'll just look at it and go, okay, I might try that, and I get the game. If I don't like it, I don't like it. It was my choice. But anyway, just try the games. It's the most important thing, and have fun with them. That's what matters. Right, AJ?
That's the bottom line of this is game on, play, have fun. That's the important thing. So, Blade, let's wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
I think the guys here need to take a break, whenever you are, watching this. It's evening right now when we are recording this. So anyways,
it doesn't matter.
Guys,
when we are watching this is mentally aggressive. You have to put up with these two lunatics, and you have to recover after this. So just go rest. Yeah. No matter the time.
We could go on and on forever about consoles and games and whatever. Guys, as usual, leave a like if you like. Leave a dislike if you didn't like, although we don't like dislikes. But, they are part of it. So if you didn't like, just leave a dislike. And consider subscribing to the Sand channel as usual. And, guys, we'll see each other on the next Couchisode next week. So game on, guys.
See you guys next week. Have fun, stay safe, and play the games you want. Game on, everyone.
Yeah.